a ceasefire in Ukraine, stock market tanking, and yes, yet again, more tariffs. This is Trump this week, and today we discuss. Yet again, another week and another set of circumstances involving the 47th president of the United States, Donald Trump. A lot of news to cover since he took office. He's on a very fast pace, to say the least. And we try to keep up on this weekly episode of Trump This Week. The top 5 news regarding Donald Trump and how it affects the rest of the world. So let's start. Number 1, yet again, Ukraine. A lot of news regarding the situation over there, the war. First, let's update the war. Apparently, this week, Russia has been able to capitalize and gain some ground on their offensive in both on Ukrainian soil. They are being able to maybe take a little bit more of land on the lines. And they also, but this is the most important thing this week, they have been able to regain ground on the Russian oblast of Kursk. Remember that several months ago, Ukraine was able to capture a significant amount of territory on this state of Russia, and they took the Russian army off guard, the Ukrainians, although Ukraine used a lot of resources in order to take this particular ground on the oblast of Kursk. However, on the past couple of weeks, Russia and the Russian army has been able to take over, so regain the lost ground on Kursk. They took a very important city of Sutsa. Let's put here the name. Russian is not my main language. Well, anyway, so on that regard, Russia actually has been, had the upper hand on the past couple of weeks, not only on the military ground, but also on the negotiation. After, of course, we know that particular incident on the White House between Trump and Zelensky. However, the situation might have changed on that regard on the diplomatic level. On this week in Saudi Arabia, the Saudis hosted Ukrainians. This time, remember that like a month ago, a Russian delegation met with U.S. authorities. This time, Ukrainians did the same. They meet yet again, the same combo, the same trio, Marco Rubio and Mike Waltz, the State Secretary and the National Security Advisors. So the Ukrainian counterparts did the same. Here we have the picture. Now, what they were trying to negotiate was a ceasefire of 30 days, and Ukrainians totally accepted, and there are talks about, maybe cutting the minerals deal yet again. And even Trump himself said this week that Zelensky is invited again to the White House. Now the ball is on Russia's side. Apparently, first, the spokesperson of the Kremlin, Peskov, said that still they are not sure. They are, kind of a fence-sitting on this particular, the decision with the ceasefire, because they don't want a ceasefire. According to the Russians, they want a longer peace and a deal that satisfies the demands of Russia in order to stop the war completely. But now, apparently, the last thing that we know is that Putin wants to actually, maybe he's, thinking about the ceasefire, but he's putting conditions of his own, like on this particular ceasefire of 30 days, Ukraine cannot receive military aid from the West, especially from the United States. Also, you have to remember that the US already approved a package around a little bit over $3 billion US on military aid, but that aid has been halted and apparently is in Poland, most of that. And well, no more military aid for Ukraine if the ceasefire is agreed. So we have to just wait and see what happens with that particular ceasefire. Hopefully, it will happen for everyone's sake. And well, let's just wait. Number two is, yes, again, we have to talk about tariffs. We are being in this trade war between Trump and his close allies, Canada and Mexico, China as well. So we know 25% to each member of, Canada and Mexico, and 20% to Chinese goods. And apparently additional tariffs for things like steel and aluminum. And Canada, that right now apparently they are switching prime ministers. Trudeau just yesterday announced that he will be completely out apparently this time, and he will be replaced by this gentleman, Mark Carney, that is an economist or something like that. Well, maybe if you're Canadian, you know who he is. I'm not going to embarrass myself trying to explain who he is. And also you have the Mexican president, Sheinbaum, that apparently she is playing, she's been a little bit more cautious. And there being this back and forth, the tariffs are on, are off, there will be frozen for a while, maybe an extra month. And so we are being on this back and forth. And right now we don't know which tariffs are in full effect, or which ones are frozen, or which ones are just, like a bluff, like in poker. Well, we don't know that. But now we have China, that according to a spokesperson from the Commerce Ministry from China, that this particular individual, she wants the US and China to negotiate something, but at the same time saying, that China is not agreeing with this particular behavior from the US government and yada, 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 the political mumbo jumbo. But apparently, well, right now that's what we have. The tariffs on China apparently are going to be in effect. Canada and Mexico, we don't know. Maybe we're going to be some particular set of goods exported to the US or by the US to the rest of the world. Also, India. Trump called India the king of tariffs, and some products, some goods, US goods imported to China have over 100% of tariff. And Trump is upset for this issue, of course, and it's completely understandable. But apparently India is going to negotiate something with Trump. Apparently it's going to be a delegation from India that will meet a delegation of the US. But the biggest tariffs announced by Trump this week were the 200% tariffs against European goods that involve wine and spirits from the European Union. And of course, the Europeans are upset. Also, Ursula von der Leyen, the president of the European Council, mentioned that maybe they're going to apply tariffs of their own to US goods. But this was a response to previous tariffs. So, it's hard to keep up with this thing. Maybe Europe, they're going to apply tariffs to the United States. Let's see if Trump actually fully endorses and fully applies the 200% tariffs to the European Union. And yet again, more mayhem to the international trade. So let's see what happens. Number 3 is the stock market. Yes, we need yet again to use the image of this particular gentleman that is basically the mascot of when the stock market crashes. I forgot his name, seems like a very lovely gentleman. Well, anyways, the market is tanking again. This week has been all red. Since late February, the S&P and the Dow have collapsed over 10%. That makes it a quote-unquote correction of the market. We don't know if it's going to be a complete recession, a complete crash of the market, but the market is bearish right now. That's without a doubt. Especially the tech stocks, the quote-unquote FANG stocks, the most important stocks like Tesla, that has wiped out every gain that it was made since Trump took office. That we remember that Elon Musk was the main benefactor of Trump's campaign. But other tech stocks, Nvidia lost $1 trillion on market cap. Alphabet, Meta, Microsoft. So basically every major tech stock has collapsed on the past few weeks. The S&P is right now on a correction, technically at least. See what happens. It was over 6,000 points just a few weeks ago, and right now is around 5,500, 5,600 points, so significant crash. To put it in context, during the GFC, the S&P was way lower back then. It collapsed 700 points, so it's a big deal. Now, many people are arguing that this particular collapse of the market is thanks to the tariffs. And yes, let's say tariffs, I will say, this is just my opinion, this is not a fact, of course, are creating this particular, instability, unease, let's say, is creating this, rhetoric, a lack of confidence. And of course, that affects, the financial assets. Now, more than that, I always said this, and I've said this many years, the market for me is overpriced for many things that have happened, the inflation and the tariffs and the supply chains, many things, even before Trump, and of course, the fiscal spending from the US government. Now, the fiscal reduction, the fiscal cuts that are being implemented by Doge are not by now. I mean, of course, we have just a few weeks since Trump took office, so we don't know how it's going to affect that. Also, we had on Wednesday the results of inflation numbers from the month of February, and they were not bad. Remember that February was the first month, complete month, whole month, since Trump has been the president on his second term. So the numbers are not bad regarding inflation, around 2.6% right now. Let's put here the chart. And so the expectation is it wasn't bad compared to the expectation. The main issue right now is the uncertainty that we have regarding tariffs and how the market is gonna respond. Number 4, we have Greenland yet again. Trump, apparently this is no joke, he wants Greenland, and he has said this many times. He said it yet again yesterday on the White House. He wants Greenland. He says that it's important for international security and defense. So he is pitching it to the rest of NATO that he wants Greenland, and he is going to do whatever might need in order to take over Greenland. Also this week, we had elections actually in Greenland, and the parties and the political leaders that are more, pro-independence of Greenland, they had the best results on this particular election. Greenland is Regarding population, has a small population, like 150,000 people, but they went to vote, and apparently the independence rhetoric within the citizens of Greenland is getting traction. So the citizens of Greenland might be tempted, and apparently there is kind of a sentiment on that is growing in Greenland that they want to be independent from Denmark and maybe join the United States in a legal status similar to Puerto Rico. And number 5, and this is just, the joke of the week, in order to relax a little bit, is that Trump is shopping for a new car, and perhaps it's going to be a new Tesla. We had this week Elon bringing, kind of like, selling his product, as an entrepreneur. That's cool for me. Took his products to the White House, different Tesla models, for Trump maybe to choose one for himself. Remember, we already explained that this week, made a video about it, regarding that Elon is having, trouble, his branding with Tesla, and other of his companies and products are getting affected because of his political views. The people that are not on that particular side regarding politics with Elon, with far right, something like that. So people are upset, are selling Teslas, are vandalizing Teslas, or they are driving Teslas in different parts of the world, saying that basically they bought the Tesla before Elon went crazy, something like that. Okay, so Trump got upset because he wants to help his buddy Elon, and said, you know what, I'm going to buy a Tesla for my own. And apparently Trump has never seen a Tesla on the inside or something like that, because he was very impressed. And we had this particular moment that, oh, look at this dashboard. I've never seen something like that. It's all computer. And yeah, well, it was fun. We saw it on social media. And well, now Donald Trump will be the proud owner of a new Tesla vehicle, just in order to close this week. Thank you for watching Continental Insider. Please like, share, and subscribe. Follow us on social media, and if you want to work with us, continentalinsider.com. Thanks again, and have a nice day.